Inspire.fm.
Hello and welcome back to Conscious Creation. This is Jana Marino on Inspire.fm. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about gauging how in alignment you are with whatever it is you're creating. So you've heard me talk about the alignment chart that we have in the Conscious Creation Gathering. And what today's show is about is I'm going to be asking you some questions, and this will help you gauge exactly where you are in terms of manifesting whatever it is you're creating. Okay? So one of the first questions is to ask yourself, how do I feel about where I am now in regards to my creation? And we've talked a little bit about this before, how sometimes when you're really at peace and when you really love and accept and embrace everything about where you are, things just come in. The problem is when we try to create something, we do it from a space of really not being at peace with where we are now. So how do you feel about where you are right now in regards to your conscious creation? And you can pick any topic of your choice. And some people say, well, where I am right now, it's not where I want to be. And when they say that, you can hear a little bit of the emotional discord in that, right? But if you're really standing in a space of, I'm feeling really good about where I am right now. And yes, I would like to have this, but I don't really need it. And it would be more an extension of who I am, but it doesn't make me whole and complete, right? It would be an expression of my life experience, but it doesn't make me who I am. That's when you know you're really in alignment. So if you're answering this question and it's, I feel bad, or I feel sad, or hopeless, or I feel like this might never happen, then that's something to look at. And we have some tips and tricks to help you kind of become more at peace with where you are. In some of the past shows, we talked about the relevance of meditation. Also, another thing you can do is to just stop focusing on it altogether. So pick up something else, do Aikido, or start a paint class, or do something that will take your mind off of whatever it is you're trying to create. Because at this point, if every time you focus on it, you feel that emotional discord, those unwanted emotions, you're not helping your conscious creation. You're not helping it to manifest any faster. Actually, you're hindering its manifestation. You're actually drawing out the manifestation process. So either begin meditating and begin making peace with where you are. And if that is way too difficult, shift your focus. Start focusing on something that has nothing to do with what it is you're trying to create, right? Take up swimming, take up painting, go start learning to dance, take a salsa class. And this will help you take your mind and focus off of it long enough so that the energy moves. Another question that we have in our alignment chart is, do I need my creation to manifest? And this is kind of a big one, because a lot of people say, yes, I need this to manifest in my life. I really, really need it. And this actually, again, it hinders the whole process. Because when you need something, you're telling the universe, I'm not whole and complete. I won't be happy until this comes into my life, until I have the money or the relationship or the sales, the clients, the business, the health. I am not whole and complete as I am. And as you're sending this signal to the universe, I'm not whole and complete, I need this, the universe gives you more of, I'm not whole and complete and I need this. So the universe always says yes to whatever you're putting out. So if you're noticing you have the feeling like, I really need this, look at that. And again, take your focus off of it or change your story about it. So I was talking with someone who was creating more money, and he said, yes, I need more money in my life. And I said, well, how long have you needed it? And he said, oh, for years. I've needed it for at least 2 decades. And I said, well, you've done so far so good this long without it. You've gone this long without this money. Have you survived? And he kind of smiled and said, yeah, actually, I have survived. Not as comfortably as I would like to, but I've gotten through every month. I've always been able to eat. And from there, he was actually able to find peace. Oh, I've actually been living sustainably for this long. It's just I haven't looked at it in that light. And immediately peace came in. And within a week of having this conversation, he manifested literally, a few thousand ringgits out of thin air. And he was really happy about it. So this is really important. If you're creating something and you need it to manifest, this will hold you in vibrational discord with the manifesting of it. Yeah? So again, the perfect space to be in is to really accept and love everything about where you are right now. Okay, sure, I'm not in the house that I want to live in, but where I live now is really great. And then you pick out all the things that you really love about where you live. So you might say, I love how quiet it is. And I love to hear the birds outside singing. And I love that there's not a lot of people coming in and out, that it's really only me or only, me and my partner and my family. I love that I get a lot of time alone there. And you can work from there. And you'll notice that you shift. So you shift from, I need my dream house to manifest, into, oh, well, actually, I really like where I am right now. Or where I am right now is not bad at all. And this is a great place to start manifesting your dream home from. Yeah? Just as an example. Another question you can ask to gauge how in alignment you are with your creation is to ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen if it doesn't manifest? And this is a big one for some people. Some people say things such as, oh, I'll die, or I'll be a burden on my family, or they'll say, I'll be a failure. And again, going back to my previous example, this really shows that you need it or else. So all of these questions, they help you gauge whether you're coming from a space of whole and completeness, or if you're entering your manifestation from a space of being incomplete, and you won't be complete and whole until this manifestation occurs. So actually, when you're coming from this space of I'm not whole and complete as I am, this is where like addictions and obsessions can come in, because we're always looking for that extra thing outside of us to make us feel happy and whole. But the problem is when we do this, the happiness, lasts a little while. It may last a week or two, or maybe even a month. But then after that, we go right back to where we were before. We go back to the same emotional average that we feel normally on a day-to-day basis. So really what this is about is being whole and complete first. And then whatever you manifest in your life, it becomes an extension and an expression of what you're creating, but it doesn't make you who you are. And this is really combining the spiritual with the physical world. Yeah, so this is making peace with our physicality in a sense. So what is the worst that could happen if your creation doesn't manifest? If it is something drastic, like, I would be miserable for the rest of my life, or there'd be no point in living, I would say do the 2 tricks we just mentioned before. Either begin like a meditation process so that you take your focus off of it, or focus on something else entirely. Yeah, and again, this takes practice. This really takes a bit of practice, because what happens is all of our lives, we've trained our brain to be a certain way. We've trained it into worry, literally, or we trained it into stress. We train it into an uncomfortable space, and then we get used to it. And what happens is when we create something, all these endorphins are released and we feel really good, like I said earlier, for about a week or two. But eventually that old habit of thinking picks back up again, and we go back into being stressful. We go back into worrying. We go back into pre-concluding what the future might bring. We fall back into fear. So really the only way to solve this would be to train your brain to do it differently, right? And you do this by, you take 30 days and you meditate, once or twice a day for 15 to 20 minutes. I took a transcendental meditation course, and we did it 20 minutes a day, 2 times a day, every day. So there's no excuse not to do it. And what you notice is you fall back within yourself. So you fall back into presence, and you really start appreciating the moment and what is unfolding right now. Suddenly your mind isn't so much in the future, and it's not remembering so much of the bad things in the past. You really fall into peace. And if you can retrain your brain in this way, that is the best thing I could offer, or anyone can offer for that matter, because now you've trained yourself into appreciation. You've trained yourself into being present and into having a lot of gratitude for where you are right now. And this is what acceptance is all about. Yeah? So going back to the question, what is the worst that can happen if it doesn't manifest? If you say something like, oh, well, I won't be diminished in any way, I'd be just as happy. Good. Then that kind of shows that you're in alignment. That now the creation isn't dictating how you feel, isn't dictating your results in life. Yeah? So another question to ask yourself to gauge how in alignment you are with your creation is to ask yourself, do I need it right now? Yeah? So a lot of times people come and they have this sense of urgency. They have this desperation, this I needed this yesterday. And again, if you're feeling a lot of desperation and a lot of urgency and need for this creation to manifest right now, are you coming from a space of being whole and complete? Or are you coming from a space of, oh, I won't be at peace until this manifests? Yeah. So there's lots of little indicators that let you know whether you are in alignment or not with whatever it is you're creating. If you need it right now, I would say relax, rest into it. Find all the good things about where you are right now, because eventually what'll happen, and as this process unfolds, you move from disbelief into belief, and then you move from belief into knowing, and then when you know, it just comes. Yeah? So if you don't need it right now, fantastic. So alignment is really about not needing whatever it is you're creating. It's about it won't bring you anything outside of yourself that you haven't already achieved or feel right now. And a lot of people kind of get it backwards. They think, well, if I need it, then it'll manifest. And it's, no, if you need it, you actually slow down the whole process. Yeah? So again, the universe gives you what you put out. And the funny way of thinking is a lot of people will say, oh, I want this because I believe it'll make me feel happier, or I believe it'll make me feel better, so I better start manifesting it so that I can eventually feel happier. And actually, the better way of putting it is more like, oh, I want this. I believe I would be more happier with it, so I'm going to just start feeling happier right now instead. And when you do that, then it comes in. And this is also why it's easier for some people to manifest little things. And I say little with quotations because in the universe there is no big or small or large or little. But personally speaking, if you're manifesting like a free cup of coffee or excellent parking spaces, you don't need this. It won't diminish you in any way if you don't get it. So we really fall into perfect alignment with the littler things first. And as you practice the little things and you get really good at it, you build neural pathways that reinforce and reinstate your conviction and confidence in consciously creating your life. So if it's easier for you, start with little things first. Put the big things on hold. Yeah? So that's my show today. tips and tricks to gauge how in alignment you are with what it is you're creating. Thank you for joining, and a new show is posted every Friday at 8 a.m. Singapore time. Thank you for joining. This is Jana Marino with Conscious Creation on Inspire.fm. Happy manifesting.
Inspire.fm